What's up guys, welcome back to another video on this channel, and I feel like I haven't said that in a while, but yeah, welcome back to What If Deku is a Power Ranger Part 3. I'm really glad you guys are enjoying this series, and as you can tell by the length of this video, I'm also really enjoying this series, and since we got a really long video up ahead, I'll just leave it here and get to the video. So remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Get some popcorn, and let's get to it. Everybody else's internships would remain the same, except for Tokiyami, but that's a manga spoiler, so I'm not gonna go into it. Deku heads to the city of Saitama, where one of the s.p.d. headquarters is located. When he arrives, Deku is told to wait in a room until they're ready for him. After half an hour of waiting, he's introduced to Dr. Catherine Mannix, or Cat for short. He also meets their chief gadget tester, Boom, and their robotic dog, Rick. After an introduction, Deku asks why she wanted him to intern here, as not many hero agencies would trust a quirkless student to join them. Cat explains that many years ago they had their own set of Power Rangers. They had two sets of Power Rangers, an A Squad and a B Squad. That was until A Squad was sent to stop a villain here in Japan. However, they never came back. So they sent in B Squad with their commander to look for them. And just like A Squad, they never came back. Many years later, she was contacted by Gosei and Alpha that there was another ranger. So they've come to Japan to help him become a great Power Ranger. Boom tells him that it's a miracle he got into such a school like UA and became a Power Ranger. He was unable to get into any hero course due to his quirk not suited for being a hero. So he went to a regular school and joined s.p.d. and eventually became their chief gadget tester. He originally wanted to become one of their Power Rangers, but he failed the academy and he's now their chief gadget tester. He's even got his own design for his own Power Ranger suit. For the next 3 days or so, Deku would be training on the s.p.d. training grounds, as well as spending time with Cat and Boom. I feel like he would get along with Boom. You know, they'd talk about the superheroes that are out there and the Rangers. Who knows, maybe Deku learns a little bit about the kind of gadgets they use. Who knows? While Deku trains outside, Cat begins to study Deku's morpher, and by analyzing it, she's able to reactivate her own morph. She tells Deku that later that day they'll be doing a patrol in the city of Kofu. Meanwhile, Stain is having a chat with Shigaraki, and after Stain declares that he'll deal with Shigaraki after getting rid of the fake heroes, he's coming for him. From the back of the hideout, they hear someone saying that they're both idiots. Out of the shadows walks out a man with what looks like a broken mask and a staff with a giant Z on it. Behind him are 5 people who Stain can't really make out. He tells both of them that all heroes deserve to die, whether they're fake or not. Stain takes an immediate dislike towards him, as All Might is the only hero that deserves to be called a hero and live. Stain tries to attack him like he did against Shigaraki, but the man just uses his staff to disarm Stain and pin him to the floor. He tells Kurogiri to send him back to whatever side of the road they picked him up from, or else he'll kill him right here and right now. Kurogiri not wanting him to kill Stain, since they do kinda need him, he sends him back to Hosu City. Meanwhile, back at the s.p.d. headquarters, just like Cat said, later that day, Deku and Cat, as well as Rick, hop into the Delta Cruiser and make their way to Kofu. However, on their way there, they get a call from Boom saying that Hosu City is currently under attack by a group of those Nomu things, and they're pretty close by. Deku says that they should go and at least try to help guide the citizens out of trouble. But Cat says no, as those Nomu things are really powerful and could potentially kill them. Deku then remembers that Ida is in Hosu, and the hero killer might be there as well. Deku not wanting for Ida to potentially do something stupid, he morphs into the Black Space Ranger and uses the Galaxy Glider to fly to Hosu City. Cat tells Rick to follow him and make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. This means Cat has to drive after him to make sure he doesn't get himself killed, as well as telling Boom to send reinforcements to Hosu. Meanwhile, in Hosu, Endeavor and Todoroki are fighting off the Nomu the best they can, while Ida is fighting Stain. With Ida pinned to the floor, Stain claims that Ida and his brother are no real heroes. However, he'll make a great offering to the betterment of society. As Stain brings down his sword, he is rammed forward by Deku's Galaxy Glider, which pushes him back a few feet. Deku jumps off before Stain can stop it. Ida asks how he was able to find him. Deku replied, thanks to his mentor Gosei, they were able to find him. Stain says that he doesn't really want to kill another kid, but if he's gonna interfere, he'll kill him as well. Ida yells to Deku to take that pro hero and get out of here, it's none of his business. Deku just gives a nervous smile and says that even if it's not, he's not gonna let Ida just throw away his life for no reason. Stain starts to rush at Deku as he quickly morphs into the Red Mighty Morphin Ranger. Deku is able to use the sword to clash with Stain, and they do clash a couple of times. Deku does manage to get a small cut on Stain's arm, but Stain being faster, he just kicks Deku aside, allowing him the opportunity to slash at Deku, which causes a few sparks to fly, but after hitting him again, it breaks the morph. Gosei contacts Deku to hold out for a bit longer, they're working on getting him and the other two out of there. Before Stain can strike again, he is rammed in the side by Rick. Deku quickly gets up and thanks the robotic dog as Cat shows up. Deku tells her that this is the hero killer and they need to get out of here now. Stain gets up saying that he's getting real tired of people interrupting him, especially when they're ramming into him. Cat then pulls out the Cat Morpher and morphs into the Cat Ranger. Deku pulls out his sword and gun, ready to face Stain. Rick stays behind them in order to protect the pro hero and Ida. Unfortunately, Stain has the upper hand on both of them with power and speed. Even when Ida joins the fight, he still got the upper hand. These three are able to hold their own against Stain, with Cat blinding Stain and the other two attacking. Using the pink s.p.d. Ranger, he turns his body into the same material as Stain's swords, making it that much harder for Stain to get any sort of cuts in. He'd be using his arms to block Stain's attacks while the other two attack him. However, Stain manages to grab Deku by the helmet and toss him at Ida while he tries to kick him. So Ida nearly kicks Deku, both of them end up falling into the ground. Stain then quickly grabs Cat by the helmet and bashes her head repeatedly into a wall, which knocks her out. Deku watching all that go down, it angers him and he uses his sword to stab into Stain's body. This does get his attention and he turns around to punch Deku away. Ida then comes in with his reciprocal burst and kicks Deku's sword further into Stain's body and punctures one of Stain's lungs. After howling in pain, Stain uses his paralyzing bloodlust technique to stop the two young heroes. Stain approaches Deku as he pulls out one of his swords. Stain raises the sword above Deku's head and then brings it down. Stain then realizes that Deku has disappeared. He then turns around and sees that the others have disappeared as well. After realizing that they all disappeared, he pulls out the sword that's inside of his body. He says that he'll have to give this back to him someday, as Stain hobbles away. Meanwhile, over at the command center, Deku thanks Gosei for getting them out of there before Stain could kill any of them. Gosei says that he's happy to be of service, however, they all need to get to a hospital as soon as possible, as they've suffered a lot of injuries. After a bit of time, Gosei teleports them to Hosu Hospital. This means that the Flying Nomu gets to live another day. The following day, Cat does chew out Deku for disobeying her orders, but she also thanks him for saving her and the others' lives. Ida would probably also do the same, chewing him out and thanking him for saving his life. The remaining days of the internship is spent at the s.p.d. training grounds and going on night patrols with random heroes. Since Cat is a scientist, so I wouldn't imagine that she would be super happy about going on patrols all the time, but she also needs time to heal up. Before Deku leaves, he thanks Cat and Boom for taking care of him. Boom tells Deku not to give up on his dream of becoming a pro hero. He'll be here rooting for him. Cat tells them that they'll be staying here in Japan for a few months, so if he ever needs anything, they'll be here, just give him a call. She then hands him a box and tells him to only use this in case of emergency. When he arrives back to UA, the conversations go about the same. I'm pretty sure that the word would have gone around that Ida and Deku faced off against the hero killer. The big difference here is that Todoroki would walk up to Deku and Ida asking if they really did face off against the hero killer. After both of them confirming that they did fight him, Todoroki apologizes for not coming to help them. He and his dad were too busy dealing with the Nomu. Had he known that they were fighting the hero killer, he would have come to help. Both Deku and Ida would accept his apology, saying that the extra help would have been great, but it's okay, they survived regardless. Bakugo, overhearing this, he decides to boast about how had he faced off against the hero killer, there's no way they would have gotten away. Kirishima and the others would stand up for Deku and Ida because, saying that they tried their best and Bakugo alone might not even be enough. Aizawa then enters the class, telling everybody to take their seats. After everybody sits down, the class proceeds as normal. Later that day, All Might has them all suit up and meet him outside. As a follow-up to their internships, they will be doing a rescue training race. He splits them off into groups of 5. The first group consists of Sero, Mina, Ida, Ojiro, and Deku. Once it starts, Sero quickly takes the lead, as this quirk is perfect for swinging, kinda like another superhero we know. But as Sero is thinking how he's got this in the bag, a yellow streak goes flying past him and gets to All Might before anyone else. When Sero arrives, he sees Deku, who tells him that Sero's quirk is great for an area like this, but it's just easier to fly over it. Plus, he thinks that Bakugo will probably do something similar, flying with his explosive hands. Once the others arrive, All Might tells them that they all did great and are progressing as heroes by learning new ways of using their quirks. More so talking to the others than Deku. Since we never see the results of the other groups, I can't really change what happens there. The day then continues as normal, with Aizawa announcing that they're going to a summer training camp after the exams. Their studying and tests would change a little, as Deku suggests that they study as a group. Obviously, Bakugo, Kirishima, Ida, and probably Todoroki wouldn't study with them, but everybody else would be down to study together. Anyways, now we can move forward to the practical exams. The teacher and student matchups are the same except for Shiozaki taking Minetta's place. There are slight changes in some of the matches, such as Aoyama and Uruka actually having some teamwork, since they have worked together during the UA Sports Festival, and I feel like Aoyama would probably ask her if she liked Deku sometime after they were done studying. So they don't win the exact same way, but they still get the job done. Sero and Shiozaki would take the win because Shiozaki can just extend her hair and use it as a fan to blow away Midnight's little dust thing. And then from there, Sero or Shiozaki could just wrap up Midnight and they can cross through the finish line. Ida and Ojiro's fight would just take place a little bit faster. Now onto Bakugo and Deku's fight with All Might. Like in canon, Deku and Bakugo would start out arguing about their plans right off the bat. They would have almost gone into a full fight if it weren't for All Might intervening. All Might bursts towards them, and Deku's first instinct is to just jump away. All Might then grabs Bakugo by the face and slams him into the ground. Once he slams Bakugo down, he jumps up, asking, "Where are you going, Midoriya?" before he sends him flying down with a punch. He then lands in front of them, asking if it really just took one punch to bring them both down. Bakugo stands up, ready to fight again, trying a few of these explosions right at All Might's face. But All Might gut punches Bakugo, causing him to throw up and fly back into a building. Deku takes this opportunity to morph into the Black Dino Thunder Ranger and turn invisible, allowing Deku to get away and find Bakugo before All Might can. He drags Bakugo as far as he can. He then tries to explain his plan again, that they should go for the exit rather than taking All Might head on. Like, start having the same argument that they had before they ran into All Might. Deku then realizes that Bakugo would rather die than run away and win. So he decides to play by Bakugo's rules, which pleases Bakugo but also pisses him off as he's gotta work with him now. He goes on to explain his plan to Bakugo. Meanwhile, All Might is running down the street searching for them. Deku then appears behind him and shoots him with his blaster, trying to get All Might's attention. He then as quickly runs back into the alleyway before All Might can turn around. All Might follows him in there, but Deku disappears. All Might then proceeds to throw one of those big punches to push away all the trash. He wants to make sure that they're not hiding behind the trash. Once he realizes that there's no one there, 3 people fall on top of him. These 3 are Deku's clones, and they're trying to hold him back. All Might just gives a smirk to all 3 of them and does his Oklahoma smash. This sends the clones flying in each direction. While All Might is still spinning, Bakugo and the real Deku jump down. Bakugo aims his gauntlets at All Might, with Deku pulling both of the pins. This unleashes 2 giant explosions that hit an unguarded All Might directly. In canon, one of these blasts was actually enough to hurt All Might just a bit, so 2 of them would deal double the damage. Deku, thinking fast, runs towards him and pulls out the handcuffs, but All Might's too fast for him and grabs his arm. He uses Deku's body to break Bakugo's gauntlets. He then moves behind Bakugo and hurls Deku at him, sending them both into the main street. Deku struggles to get up and Bakugo takes note of it. He tells Deku to get out of here. If he really is that hurt that he can't even stand up, then he's just useless in the fight and will get in his way. As much as Deku wants to argue with him about, him being able to still fight, he knows that he's no match for All Might, and neither is Bakugo. Deku decides to morph into the Black Dino Ranger and just goes invisible, disappears. He leaves Bakugo to face All Might all alone. Bakugo tells All Might that even if he's much stronger, he'll find a way to beat him. All Might's looking at the future #1 pro hero. This unfortunately doesn't go well for Bakugo, as All Might can just pretty much outplay him in anything. With one punch, he can send Bakugo flying upwards. He then grabs Bakugo by the head and brings him crashing down, knocking Bakugo unconscious. He then realizes that Deku's been missing this entire time. As he's about to go looking for him, he can hear what sounds like a flute being played in the distance. Shortly after, the ground starts to shake and a roar can be heard. It's the Dragon Zord, and he uses his tail to slap All Might into a building. All Might thinking that Deku's inside, he jumps towards it. The Dragon Zord uses its finger missiles to slow All Might down. While All Might is fighting the Dragon Zord, Deku walks out of an alleyway and goes to check up on Bakugo. Quickly realizing that he's out cold, he picks him up and starts to head towards the exit. Deku gets pretty close to the exit before All Might realizes that he was tricked. All Might lands on the Dragon Zord's chest and rockets towards Deku. Using all of Deku's strength, he throws Bakugo's body through the gate, but All Might crashes into Deku's back. This creates a crater right in front of the gate. Deku once again struggles to get up and slowly makes his way towards the gate. All Might just grabs Deku and just easily pulls him back. He tells Deku to stand down, hero, you've already lost. Deku replies that he's never gonna give up, there are too many people counting on him. He must avenge his fellow rangers. He clenches his fist and punches All Might in the face. But before anything else can happen, they hear over the speakers that time is up. Hearing that, Deku collapses and passes out, with All Might catching him. He then picks up Bakugo and takes him to Recovery Girl, where she states that he should have held back a bit more. Had it not been for that shield thing that Deku was wearing, he could have broken Deku's back, and that they're not going to be waking up for a while. All Might tells her that young heroes need to be pushed beyond their limits, especially these two. Both of them remain knocked out while the others finish their exams. The following day, we find out that Kirishima, Kaminari, Mina, Sato have failed. However, they'll still be allowed to go to the summer camp, but they're gonna have to do night classes. Toru still comes up with the idea of the group going to the mall before the summer camp. That day, the group heads out to the mall, and eventually they split up like in canon. As a lone Deku walks through the mall, nothing happens. Let me explain. In canon, Shigaraki was pissed that Stain got all the credit for the Hosu attack. Toga and Dabi were the extra push that had Stain leave the hideout and meet up with Deku. In this timeline, not only did Stain not get the credit, I mean if anything the credit would have gone to the league because of the Nomus, attacking, but we also don't have Dabi, Toga, and Spinner join the league just yet. Anyways, with Shigaraki not showing up, Deku and Uruka would probably end up spending some more awkward time together. And that's really just about it. Once the UA students are let go for their summer break, Deku gets a phone call from Kat. She asks if he wants to come with her to Island. And that's where we're gonna leave it off for now. So yeah, that was part 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I realize now that I'm editing that I treat Deku, at least in the fight with All Might, like really bad. But yeah, I've got not much to say, except, a lot of you guys wanted for part 4 to do Island, the first My Hero Academia movie, which I will be doing. I have some of it written out. But yeah, I've got nothing really else to say here other than on a post and on a tweet that I made on Twitter. By the way, go follow me. I said that I was watching Kamen Rider X8. For those of you that don't know, Kamen Rider is like Power Rangers. It's not entirely like Power Rangers, but they got the same concept as, Power Rangers and Sentai. But Kamen Rider EX is really fun. I recommend it. Other than that, I'll have 2 more Power Ranger themed videos coming out next week. I hope you guys enjoy them. Make sure to check them out. And that's it for this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.